Hello students, Namaste everyone, I am Dhaval sir. Our today's topic is from your English textbook literature part, poem number 10, A Slumber Did My Spirit Seal by William Wordsworth. Right? So first of all, we need to understand what is the title of the poem. Right? So the word slumber means sleep. Right? So in this poem, the poet refers to death as a permanent sleep. A slumber did my spirit. Spirit we all know, it means soul. So spirit seal, that means death. Right? So basically in this poem, right, that is a slumber did my spirit seal. Right? So this is one of the Lucy poems. Lucy is the beloved of William Wordsworth. Right? So to dedicate his love towards his beloved, William Wordsworth had written a series of poems. From amongst those series, that is, which is known as Lucy poems, this one is one of them. Right? So I'll tell you about the Lucy poems. Lucy poems are a series of 5 poems composed by William Wordsworth. In this series, that means, as I said, it is a series of 5 poems. So in this series he has written verse. Verse means the poem, right, infused with abstract ideals. Infused means which is dealt with or which is written on abstract ideas. Abstract, we all know the meaning. Abstract means something which we can feel it, which we cannot touch it. So abstract ideals like beauty, nature, love, longing and death. Right? So these are the different abstract ideals on the basis of which the Lucy poems were written. Okay, and our poem is such which is based on the death of the poet's beloved. Right? So the poet, when he is thinking of the idea, right, of his beloved's death, right, what the poet says that he was full of grief and sorrow, and he was regretting that he did not take things very seriously, right, and he took the life for granted and did not fear the fact that one day his beloved Lucy will be separated from him because of death or any such kind of reason. The poet William Wordsworth loved her beloved so much that he always felt that his love was so strong that no one can separate his love from him. But he never had even the slightest thought or idea, or he had never imagined that death is something which can separate anyone from any person. Right? So he had taken life for granted, and after the death, that is the permanent sleep, Lucy got separated from the poet, that is William Wordsworth. Right? So in this poem, the poet William Wordsworth is describing about the death of her beloved. He says that he had thought that his beloved was a goddess of immortality. Immortality means what? Mortal means a person who is for sure to die. Immortality, we usually say that immortal are the people, right, who never dies. We say that God is immortal, right, so they never die away, and that is the reason what the poet is trying to say, that he had thought that his beloved was goddess of immortality. That means he felt that his love for her beloved was so strong that no one, even the nature, could not affect it. But we all know that we are a part of nature and we all will get affected by it, and mortality for sure. Mortality means death for sure is going to come for the living beings. Right? So that is what is described in this poem. Right? And further, when his beloved is dead, right, the poet becomes numb. That means he does not feel anything, and he is not getting, later on he is not getting affected by any kind of worldly things. That means he lost the fear of having any kind of, means he lost the human fears. That means usually we all human beings have some or the other kind of fear, right? So he lost all the kind of fear, right? Further, in this poem, he is saying that after the death, right, he had thought that his beloved is unaffected by age and mortality. That means he felt that she will never die away, they both will never be separated. But after the death, she gets separated from the poet. Further, he is describing about the scene or the imagination, or he is telling us that after the death of his beloved, how did she look, right? As she was dead, she was lying motionless. That means there was, we all know that after death the body is motionless, right? Further, he says that she could not hear and see, and she was buried inside the earth. And when the dead bodies are buried inside the earth, slowly and gradually it becomes part of the earth. It gets, the body gets mixed up with the soil, rocks, trees, plants and everything, and it gets mixed up with the earth, right? And slowly and gradually it will become a part of the nature. So that is what the poet is trying to tell us, right? So that is the introduction of, or the summary of this poem. So for further meaning, let us try to read out the poem and understand it in detail. A slumber did my spirit seal, I had no human fears, she seemed a thing that could not feel the touch of earthly ears. So as I told you, slumber means sleep and spirit means soul. So the poet's soul, right, the poet says that his beloved had died, and because of that he had become numb, right? He was so much affected by the death that he could not feel anything, right? And he had taken life for granted. So he is further saying that when his beloved was there, he had taken life for granted and had never thought that one day they both would get separated from each other because of the death, right? And when she was taken away, that means when she was dead, he could not bear the loss of death. So that is what is written in these lines. Further, no motion has she now, no force, she neither hears nor sees, rolled round in earth's diurnal course. Diurnal means daily, with rocks and stones and trees. So the poet here accepts the truth that Lucy is no more, right? He had a regret and he was in grief, sorrow, but later on he realizes and he accepts the fact that his beloved is no more, and as she is dead, she is lying motionless and lifeless, right? She cannot hear, she cannot see, right? So that is what is mentioned over here. And after the death, she is buried in the earth, and what the poet is saying, that slowly and gradually she will get assimilated inside the earth with other natural things like the rocks, trees and soil and everything. And as we all know that the earth keeps on rotating, right? Along with the earth, she will also keep on rotating, and one day she will become, after getting assimilated, one day she will become the part of the nature. Once she gets assimilated with the earth, she will become part of the nature, right? So that is what is explained here in this poem. So ultimately, what is the theme of this poem, right, that we need to understand? So the theme of this poem is life, death and afterlife of death. Usually we have heard about life and death, but some culture, they also believe in life after death, right? So that is what is mentioned over here. Here the poet is trying to say that though his beloved is dead, right, but the poet has tried to immortalize her, right? That means the poet, he is saying that when the dead body of her beloved is getting mixed in the soil and earth, and when the earth is rotating, that means he could feel the presence of his beloved in the nature, and this is how he is immortalizing his beloved. And the another theme of this poem is that immortality of the human soul. Immortality of the human soul. Mortality means a person who is for sure to die. Immortality means a person who cannot die. So immortality of the human soul. That means we all believe that only the physical body of the person is dead, but the soul is always alive. So that is what the poet is trying to explain, right? So that is what is explained over here, that poet immortalizes Lucy, that is his beloved, by stating that she lives in nature after her physical death. That means the body is no longer, the body is dead, the body is no longer available or no longer there with him, but he could always feel the soul of his beloved around him through the presence of nature. So that is what is explained in this poem. Okay, I hope so the poem is clear to you all. That's it for today. I'll end my lecture over here. Thank you so much for listening to me. Stay healthy, stay safe, and take care of yourself. Bye everyone.